Woohoo! We're here in space with Kokomi. Actually, I'm joking. We're in the Nod-Krai Teapot. So that is the subject of today's video. Why has everyone forgotten about this place? Well, let's just look at the teapot itself. When you come in at the very beginning, it kind of feels a bit undercooked. It feels like it's very, very empty. You see the big structure at the back, and to be quite honest, even Kokomi agrees, without that big structure as like a main feature or an attraction point, you definitely feel like this just seems like leeway mountains propped up randomly in the air. And I think maybe if we're going to be really, really honest, this actually hasn't gotten anything to do with the teapot. This has got everything to do with the fact that since Meliastra Wonderland is now out, why would you spend all this time creating content for yourself when there aren't even really any Nod-Krai teapot replicas to actually even look at? So I couldn't really even find anything to show you today. And even if you did find, you'd have to get all the furnishings, and it's a bit of a pain. Whereas if you go to Meliastra, hey, there's a bazillion games. You can guess the foot, you can play bowling, and all sorts of crazy stuff. So that's kind of the answer as to why everyone kind of forgot about this place. But from my perspective, certainly when you look at it, you can definitely see what the Genshin devs had in mind when they cooked this. So you'd want your main mansion here, looking out at this beautiful like sky terrace of mountains, and then obviously at the back you would then want to have the big structure there as a bit of a focal point, maybe a garden view. That's just one way of looking at it. Since we are reviewing the Nod-Krai Teapot, I just thought it'd also be funny to do things like go under the map and see are there any little hidden surprises, and nope, you can actually see it's just the teapot being embedded kind of like in the sky. And in a certain sense I would have loved this to have a bit more of a Nordic feel, where you'd have the mountains or the little hills and stuff with a beautiful ocean like we have in Nod-Krai. So it feels kind of off that they put this just in the middle of like nowhere, up in the sky. It doesn't feel that Nod-Krai-ish. So certainly the mountains and the big structure at the back, yes, I get the Nod-Krai theme, but we're missing water. We're really missing water. And that, I think, is the big disappointment. The other thing that I also find a bit disappointing is the fact that they could have given us like larger areas to put like furnishings, or at least multi-level furnishings. So here, as you can see in the background, I'm climbing up a mountain, or a hill or whatever, and there's a lot of space here that you could place furnishings, but you can't because, well, it's not within the placeable bounds. And I thought maybe if you had the multi-level structures mimicking Nasha Town, the Light Keepers, the ups and downs that you also have in Nod-Krai, that would have been really, really cool. Like, you see, the thing is, with Fontaine, we got an underwater teapot. And obviously, the one thing that was missing from the Fontaine teapot is this idea of mountainous elevation. So obviously, they did this then with Nod-Krai. And you can see, we get lots of elevation, but I want to put stuff right there, right here where Kokomi is flying. I don't want to put it down there. So that's kind of a bit of a joy kill for me. And the other thing is, because we have Kuvaki, they could have given us a Kuvaki zipline across the place for easy travel. So with the Natlan teapot, we had like the hot air balloons, but if we had the Kuvaki that you could just zipline around, that would have made it so much cooler. Or like in the Luna 5 event, where you had like an eagle flying you around, or maybe some deers that you could take a special transport. I mean, they could really have cooked them a lot harder. But in any case, one of the most beautiful moments for me regarding the teapot is actually this area where Kokomi is at. When you look at it at about approximately 5 p.m. on the in-game timer, that's when you get really, really beautiful colors with the sunset, and this just matches Kokomi's colors. So this is one of the more beautiful pictures that I could take with Kokomi. I just love this. So this type of view is going to be really gorgeous. It's a shame also that we can't, and I stand corrected, but like fix the time in the teapot, so you get like almost this everlasting moment. That would be really, really cool, like an everlasting moon glow with this. It would be really, really awesome. Okay, so let's talk about something very, very interesting whilst I'm going to show you the transport. The transport here in Nod-Krai is literally just you walking. That's a bit of a downgrade from hot air balloons and jet streams, but it is what it is. Could have done Kuvaki. Did you guys notice my UID on the screen? It seems like a little misplaced, and that's not me doing a funny edit on the video or anything. That was just basically me playing with the widescreen settings, and then when you reset it, it's like, oh, you can actually move the UID, and even in Meliastra Wonderland, you can move the GUID for the stage as well. So that was just kind of a bit of a fun, interesting aside. But yeah, look at this. This just doesn't feel as dynamic, as fun as you'd expect. It seems like there should be a jet stream, something carrying me between these places. Because that's the big thing about Nod-Krai exploration. You take Kuvaki and you do stuff. So where is the Kuvaki? And maybe someone is going to point out, but actually you need to buy blah, blah, blah. And then there's a hidden special effect. And oh my God, are you Teapot new? But it might be true. I don't know. But I'm certainly missing it from that perspective. As regards this big structure, I couldn't get to it. What you see here in the background is me trying to teleport to it, and that's pretty much the max range that you can teleport. So unfortunately, we can't explore the big structure, at least not for now. Maybe I'll find it a bit of a different way, but you can tell it's very far off the map and most likely won't have collision, so it will probably just be a bit of a PNG. Okay, so how does the Nod-Krai Teapot look like in the interior? Well, it's a bit rustic. Certainly, if I were there IRL, I would probably die of the smell of the metal. But it's I think the lobby area here could have been a bit bigger. Some of the other teapots are a bit more expansive. So it definitely gives you more of a feeling of closeness. You can see there's a little moon at the top, which is it's a lie. The entire sky box that you see there it's a false sky. And the real moon is hidden behind it. So let me show you how to get to the real moon. What you do is you place this furnishing or any similar type of furnishing somewhere here in any of the rooms, and you just click boom, confirm, save, and then when you want to try and get out, you just use a little bit of a Geo Traveler. I'm lazy, I'm going to use Chaska just to get up, and then we swap to Geo Traveler. And this is the oldest trick in the book. This has been since the very first teapot that we had. I think it was the Leeway teapot. Oh, okay. And Chaska, and boom, there we go. Okay, so that's how you can just zap out of the place, and then you can see, hey, the sky is actually a bit false. You know, it's just, yeah. Kind of breaks your immersion a bit. Oh, and apparently we can fall through this, but we can't go down. So that's just kind of interesting. But yeah, that is how the Nod-Krai teapot looks like. I definitely think that there's a lot more they could have done to it. It's not a lot of people are talking about it. Content creators are silent. I think people are basically playing other games, or they're trying some goofy modes in Meliastra, and this has definitely been just a bit of an afterthought, if we're real honest. So I haven't actually watched the Luna 5 live stream, but I bet you that they didn't even mention this in the live stream. I'm just going to go and check that out just after this. But yeah, that's pretty much what I can say about this place. And then let's just end the video as we kind of started it. We're just going to yeet ourselves here in space. And then you'll also realize that just as the sky in Teapot is fake, maybe the space in Teapot is fake as well. Ah, you didn't really thought about that. No, it's just basically a sphere, and then you've got the scene here in the background, and then when you go far down enough, you can see the normal skybox. So that's all there is to it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and tell me what you think about the Nod-Krai Teapot. Keep well, cheers!